So, at this point, based upon the police investigation, we have every reason to believe that this video is complete. From what we got, yes. Once again, Judge, I object.
Overruled.
And as far as we know, this video from within the home, with whatever angles or camera angles show, this video captures the final moments of Jennifer Alfonso's life. Yes, it does. Okay. That would be from the moment she opened her eyes that morning until the moment Mr. Medina permanently shut them, correct?
Objection, Judge.
Overruled.
Yes. Now, would you consider this video to be an important piece of evidence in this homicide investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And you testified in cross-examination that one of the first things that the police did, your team, not you personally, but your team did when you got the search warrant was you went into that home and you seized that equipment, correct? That's what you said.
Yes.
Right. And you did not let the video continue to run and record while you were processing the scene, correct?
Objection, Judge. Leading.
Sustained. Ask open-ended questions, please.
Did you allow the video to continue to run as you were processing the crime scene?
Objection, Judge. Leading.
Overruled.
No.
Okay. Is it unusual, in your opinion, or excuse me, in your experience, is it unusual to have the entire events of a homicide before, during, and after captured so vividly on the surveillance system?
We don't often, no.
Okay. That's not something you see often, would you agree?
Objection, Judge. Leading.
Overruled.
Based upon your experience as a detective, would you consider the collection of this video to be of a high priority?
Yes, I did.
Now, are you an expert in video forensic technology?
No.
You yourself, personally?
No.
All right. Do you have people who are trained in that area at NDPD?
Yes, we do.
All right. Now, in terms of your knowledge of video equipment or how it works, let me ask you this. Are you aware or have you had experience with DVRs where they have occasionally been known to overwrite or erase over footage after a certain period of time?
Yes.
Okay. And when you entered the home and you realized there was video equipment, did you have any way of knowing, based upon any information you had, how long that this video was going to be stored until it might automatically be deleted over?
No.
Okay. If the DVRs had been set to delete the footage after a certain period of time, the evidence potentially could have been lost.
Objection, Judge. Calls for speculation.
Only if you know, sir. Do not guess or assume.
That's correct.
Now, Mr. Medina himself was in custody pretty shortly after the homicide, within an hour, right?
I believe, yes, that would be
Okay. Do you have any way of knowing, or did you have any way of knowing at the time, whether there was any person other than Mr. Medina, for example, a friend or family member, who could have remotely logged into these DVRs and erased the footage? Did you have any way of knowing that?
No.
Okay. And again, had something like that occurred, had you delayed seizing the video, and someone had remotely logged into the DVRs, that evidence could have potentially been lost.
Correct.
Okay. Now, as we stated, the jury hasn't seen the video. They will soon. However, let's discuss some of what was seen on the video, since you were asked a tremendous amount of questions about that yesterday. Okay? First, would you agree most of the action, so to speak, on the video is going to be seen on the camera that's pointed over or across from the kitchen?
Yes.
All right. There's another camera inside that points at the doorway, correct?
Yes, there is.
All right. Now, Jennifer appears multiple times initially in the video. Is that correct? Yes, she does. All right. And during the first portions of the video files, Derek is really not seen at all. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the first time we see Derek would be minutes before the shooting. Is that right?
Correct.
And we actually don't see Isabel at all prior to the shooting, correct?
No, we don't.
And in fact, the first time we actually see Isabel is when the police come to rescue her after her stepfather abandoned her in the house with her dead mother, right?
Objection, Judge.
Sustained. Rephrase your question, please.
The first time we see Isabel is when police come and rescue her from the apartment where she had been left alone.
Same objection, Judge.
Overruled.
And she's got the blanket over her and she's being escorted out, right?
Yes, she is.
Prior to that, we never see her at all.
No, you don't.
All right. So as far as the video shows, Isabel did not witness her mother's homicide, correct?
No.
All right. It's mostly Jennifer up until the minutes of the shooting when Derek comes downstairs.
Correct.
Next, prior to Derek Medina coming downstairs in the minutes before the shooting, what sorts of things is Jennifer generally seen doing in the video?
There's a part where I think she goes to the sink. I stated in the cross, she goes to a cabinet. She walks in and out of camera view. That's about all I recall.
Does she appear to be doing anything out of the ordinary?
No.
Now, in the minutes before the shooting, Jennifer comes downstairs one final time, right?
Yes.
And she comes downstairs, but she doesn't go right to the kitchen, correct?
Correct.
That final time she comes downstairs, where does she first go before going into the kitchen?
I think she goes to the front door.
She goes to the front door. And that's captured on the video camera showing the inside of the front door. Is that correct, Detective?
That's correct.
And what does Jennifer do when she goes to that front door on the video?
She grabs the door handle, and then the door is seen open and immediately closes.
She doesn't exit.
No, she does not.
All right. And after opening and closing the front door, she then goes where?
From what I recall, she returns back to the kitchen.
Right. And she never left the kitchen alive after that, correct?
No, she did not.
All right. Now, seconds later, seconds after Jennifer goes downstairs, opens the front door, closes it, and then goes into the kitchen. Seconds later, is that when we see Mr. Medina come downstairs?
Yes.
So, minutes after, Mr. Medina had just waved a gun in her face, according to his admission, right? Minutes prior.
That's correct.
All right. And you recall asking Mr. Medina his sworn statement about the fact that he came downstairs and exited his room. You recall asking that. And do you recall him telling you that he came downstairs because he heard her exit the apartment and he wanted to see what was going on?
Yes.
Okay. And Jennifer did, in fact, open and close the door, right?
Yes, she did.
Right. So, Mr. Medina is seen on the camera coming downstairs and going immediately into the kitchen, is that correct?
Yes.
Right. And that's where Jennifer is.
Yes.
Once Derek enters the kitchen and confronts Jennifer, we really can't see them very much after that, would you agree, based upon the camera angle?
That's correct.
Right. We see portions of Derek's body at times, we see shadows reflecting on the sink, but really no clear view. Is that fair?
That's correct.
But Derek claims to you that during this confrontation where he followed his wife downstairs after she withdrew from the conflict.
Objection, Judge.
Derek,
Objection to...
Ladies and gentlemen, you are the judges of the facts in this case. You may continue.
after Jennifer voluntarily walked away from her husband who was waving a gun in her face and went downstairs,
Judge,
Derek
I'm gonna
followed
object.
her downstairs.
To the
Ask your
characterization.
question, Mr. Dunn.
Derek followed Jennifer downstairs, correct?
That's correct.
And he claims that during this confrontation where he followed her downstairs, he says she began to strike him. Is that correct?
Correct.
And in response to Jennifer striking him, he says he then went back upstairs to get the gun.
That's correct.
Right. And the video shows that, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Right. This is the gun, of course, that he would eventually use to shoot her dead seconds later, right?
Yes.
All right. Now, let's talk about what Jennifer does while this is going on, shall we? Jennifer is also still in the kitchen during this period, correct?
Correct. She remains in the kitchen area.
Right. So, while Derek is going upstairs to retrieve the gun that he's eventually going to use to kill her, is Jennifer seen on the video following her at all?
No.
Is Jennifer seen on the video chasing Derek when he's going upstairs to retrieve the gun that he will eventually use to shoot her dead?
No.
Is Jennifer seen on the video attacking Derek Medina as he is going upstairs to retrieve the firearm that he will eventually use to shoot her dead?
No.
When Derek Medina goes upstairs to get this gun that he's going to use to kill
Objection,
his wife,
is the prosecutor testifying?
Mr. Doggett, no speaking objections. If you have a legal objection, let me hear it, please. Legal objection.
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 The prosecutor is testifying.
Legal objection.
Ask and answer.
Overruled.
when Derek Medina goes upstairs to retrieve the gun that he would use to kill his wife, do we see any part of Jennifer's body at all on the video?
Not that I recall.
So she basically is there minding her own business.
Objection, Judge.
Overruled. Actually, on that one, I'm going to sustain. Ask your next question.
So Jennifer is in the kitchen at this point by herself, as correct, based on the video.
Yes,
And that's also what Mr. Medina admitted to you in his statement, correct?
that's correct.
When Mr. Medina gave his statement to you, he acknowledged to you that when he went to get the gun, his wife did not chase him, did he? He didn't say that, right?
No, we did not.
Did he say that his wife continued to attack him as he was walking up the stairs?
No, he did not.
Did he say that his wife was continuing to throw things at him as he was going up the stairs to get his gun that he would use to kill her?
No, he did not.
Did he say she was throwing knives at him?
No, he did not.
None of that. Okay. So she's there, and he eventually comes back seconds later, right?
Yes, he did.
And he told you, I had a gun at that point, right?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And we see the video, he comes downstairs, in fact, and ran into the kitchen, correct?
That's correct.
Right. Now, in both Mr. Medina's statements, the pre-interview and the formal interview, he talks about Jennifer arming herself with a knife. Is that correct?
Yes, he did.
Now, according to his statements, both of his statements, Jennifer armed herself with that knife only after he got the gun.
Correct.
All right. According to Mr. Medina's statement, was Jennifer in possession of any weapons prior to him going upstairs to get the gun that he would eventually use to kill her?
No.
The only weapons she was using were, what, hands and fists?
That's correct.
Was Mr. Medina taller than Jennifer Alfonso?
I believe so.
Was he heavier than Jennifer Alfonso?
I believe so.
Now, let's talk about that knife a little bit. You were asked a lot of questions about that knife on call 6, if you recall that.
Yes, I do.
Now, there were multiple knives in that kitchen drawer above Jennifer's body, right?
Correct.
And I believe you talked yesterday about the fact that only one of those was collected as evidence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that would have been Detective Maria Medeiros, who was in charge of the crime scene, processing the crime scene. You were talking to Mr. Medina, right?
That's correct.
State's Exhibit 102. So, Detective, let's just look at State's Exhibit 102, if I may approach it. And you remember seeing that from yesterday, right?
Yes.
And that's the photo that was taken of the cabinet drawer that had all these knives, right?
Correct. I think there's a one photo prior to this. This was also taken.
Okay. Now, I'm going to have a look at that.
You may.
So bring that exhibit. Let's just talk about this a little bit. So, all right. So this appears, you would agree, to be a typical cabinet, kitchen cabinet, ordinary size, right?
Correct.
All right. But one of those things isn't like the other.
Objection, Judge.
Overruled.
Which one is different?
The knife in the center area of the
Okay. How is it different?
The handle is opposite the other handles, the other knives.
Okay, and that's a little unusual. Now,
Objection,
did
Judge.
you
Move to strike.
Sustained, ladies and gentlemen, please remember what the lawyers say. It is not evidence. Next question, Mr. Dunn.
Now, is that the knife that you guys took, the one that appeared to be pointed in the opposite direction?
That's correct.
Okay, and Detective Madero's and crime scene didn't collect all of those knives, right?
No, they didn't.
All right. Question, did Jennifer Alfonso live in this house?
Yes, she did.
All right, with her husband Derek?
Yes.
All right, another question. Based on your experience as an investigator, you've seen, I'm sure, fingerprints used as evidence, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you have the ability, crime scene does, to test the fingerprints to see if they, someone may have touched something, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so, question, if Miss Alfonso lived in this house, and, for example, she had done the dishes the night before, is that a situation in which her fingerprints may be all over all these knives?
Yes.
Okay, is there any way for you to tell when those fingerprints were left?
No.
Okay, and this is, of course, her house, right?
Yes.
Right. So, you can't say that she armed herself with this knife, or any other, right?
No.
All right, all you can say is one of them looks a little different.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's assume for a moment that Jennifer Alfonso did pick up a knife, okay? He also admits, Mr. Medina, that he disarmed her with that weapon, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Zonkane asked you a cross-examination, a lot of questions yesterday about how it would have been possible for Jennifer to, or for Mr. Medina rather, to have put the knife back into the drawer. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, of course, can you say precisely where Jennifer and Derek were standing or what their relative positions were during this period?
No.
Okay. Can we see on the video clearly exactly where Jennifer and Derek were standing on the video?
No.
Based on the video, in fact, we can't say for sure Jennifer picked up a knife at all. Is that correct?
Correct. Objection, Judge. That calls for speculation.
Overruled.
Mr. Medina then says that upon disarming his wife of the knife, she began hitting him again, right?
Correct.
And so she's hitting her husband, who just came downstairs waving a gun at her face, right?
Correct.
All right. And Mr. Medina claimed in his statement, if you recall, that after he shot his wife a couple of times, she continued fighting him. Do you remember him saying that?
Yes, I do.
All right. Now, Jennifer had a lot of injuries to her left wrist, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
She was actually shot 5 times, right, in that left wrist.
Yes.
And those went in the back here, right?
Yes.
And they came out the other side.
Yes.
And they left a gaping wound right there in the center of the jury scene, correct?
Yes.
All right. So let me ask you this, Detective. Jennifer has this gaping wound on her wrist, presumably. And the defendant says she's fighting him, right?
Correct.
All right. In a situation such as that, the victim with a gaping, bleeding wound on her wrist, if Jennifer had been swinging her arm, flailing about, or punching Mr. Medina, would you have expected to see any blood on the surrounding cabinets?
Objection. He's not a forensic. He's not a crime scene investigator.
Sustained.
When you were examining the crime scene, Jennifer's kitchen, where she was shot dead on her own floor, did you see any blood spattered all about the walls and cabinets surrounding the scene?
No.
Okay. And the rug, you were asked a lot of questions about that rug yesterday, right?
Yes.
And you didn't collect the rug into evidence, right?
That's correct.
Now, when you were at the crime scene, again, with respect to this rug, did you see a lot of blood spattered on the rug right near the entranceway to the kitchen?
No.
Okay. Now, you, after speaking rather to Mr. Medina, you took him, or someone took him and booked him into the jail, and he was under arrest at that point, correct?
Correct.
and that was your last interaction with him, correct?
Yeah.
You did go back 8 days later to photograph him at the jail, correct?
Yes, I did.
And was that your decision, or did that come from, was that someone else's request? Do you recall?
No, it was a defense request.
All right, so that didn't come from the police department.
No, it did not.
All right. Now, you were also asked on cross-examination about whether you went back to talk to Mr. Medina again after receiving additional information in the investigation. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you never went back to the jail to talk to Mr. Medina again, even though you learned additional things after the initial interview, right?
That's correct.
Now, question. Are you actually allowed, as a police officer, to go and talk to a person once he's been placed under arrest and has attorneys representing him?
Objection, Judge. Sidebar.
That's a side. Technology in last night, so Mr. John, when you were ready?
Yes. This time, we have no further questions. Thank you, Dean. Thank you.
You are excused. Should I try to decide how we're on the second issue? Sure, thank you. Maybe you want to check if you're okay? State, would you like to call your next witness, please?
Yes, Judge. Matthew Taylor, Officer Taylor.
Officer Taylor?
Yes.
Sir, if you kindly come forward to be sworn in by the clerk.
I do.
Thank you. Officer, I will remind you, please make sure all of your answers are verbal, out loud, so all of our jurors can hear you. Mr. Johnson, if he is comfortable, you may begin.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Could you please introduce yourself to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
My name is Detective Matt Taylor. I work for the City of South Miami Police Department.
What is your current position in the City of South Miami Police Department?
I'm currently a detective in the Criminal Investigations Division.
How long have you been a detective in the Criminal Investigations Division?
Going on 2 years now.
And what did you do before you were a detective in the Criminal Investigations Division?
I was assigned to the Patrol Division.
How long have you been employed with the South Miami Police Department?
Going on 12 years now.
Now, I want to take your attention to August 8th of 2013. Okay, were you on duty when you were on that day?
Yes.
And at that time, what was your position?
I was a patrol officer.
And what shift did you work on August 8th of 2013?
I worked B shift, it's the afternoon shift.
Which is from what hour to what hour?
It's from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.
And when you got to work at 2 p.m., did you have occasion to come in contact with the defendant in this case there at Medina?
Yes, I did.
All right. And where was that?
That was at my station.
Okay. Specifically, where within the station did you encounter Mr. Medina?
First time I encountered him was in our holding cell in my station.
Okay. And do you recall about what time this was?
It was sometime after 2 p.m.
And what was he doing?
He was being held in one of our two prisoner cells.
All right. Was he being guarded by another officer?
Yes.
Do you remember who was guarding him?
I believe that was Officer Ventura.
Ventura. Okay. He's retired now, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, for what purpose or for what reason were you asked to have contact with Mr. Medina on this particular day?
I was to transport him from our station to the Miami-Dade Police headquarters.
And for the record, what was the address of the South Miami Police Station?
6130 Sunset Drive.
And do you know the address of the Miami-Dade Homicide Bureau?
I believe it's 9100 Northwest 25th Street.
Okay. Northwest 25th and 90th?
Yes.
Okay. About how long of a drive is it, give or take, from the Police Department to the Miami-Dade Police Department?
At that time in the afternoon with traffic, it's not too bad. It probably would take between 15 and 40 minutes.
And did you proceed to transport Mr. Medina as you were requested to do?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you transport him by yourself?
Yes, I did.
Would this have been a uniform car with a cage in the back, etc.?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what did you do once you encountered him?
I removed him from his cell. I can't recall if he had property with him or not, but that would be part of the process to retrieve his property. Place him in the backseat of my vehicle, secure him in the backseat of my vehicle, and proceed to drive into Miami-Dade headquarters.
Okay. And were you and Mr. Medina alone in the vehicle during this time?
Yes, sir.
And during this period that you were driving Mr. Medina from your police station to the Homicide Bureau, did you ask him any questions?
No, I did not.
Did he spontaneously make any statements to you?
Yes, he did.
And what, if anything, did Mr. Medina say to you from the backseat of the car?
He asked me if his wife survived.
And did you answer him?
My answer to him was, I do not know.
Okay. Now, what happened when you arrived with Mr. Medina at the Miami-Dade Police Department Homicide Bureau?
We exited my police vehicle. I took Mr. Medina with me. We went to the back door of Miami-Dade Police Headquarters, went inside, went to the elevator to go upstairs.
And had you been to the police headquarters before?
Yes, I
All
have.
right, so you're familiar with the area?
Yes.
All right. Once you arrived in the homicide bureau, where was Mr. Medina put?
He was put in one of their interview rooms.
All right. And
Don't talk, please. Excuse me, Mr. Dunn, you may continue.
thank you, Judge. Was that, once you placed him in the interview room, was he then considered to be turned over to Miami-Dade Police custody?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you were done with him?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did you participate in his
Folks.
interview?
Excuse me, Mr. Dunn. Ladies and gentlemen in the courtroom, we are happy to have you here. But please take a moment now to silence all cell phones. If phones are heard to go off again, you will be asked to leave the courtroom. Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Jurors, defense, I apologize for the interruption. You may continue, Mr. Dunn.
Thank you, Your Honor. So once you dropped him off, was that your last interaction with Mr. Medina that day?
Yes.
All right. And did you participate in his interview?
No.
Or witness his Miranda rights being read to him?
No, sir.
All right. Now, let's talk about Mr. Medina himself for a moment. How long would you say you spent entirely with Mr. Medina from the moment you encountered him in the cell at your station until you left him in the interview room with the Miami-Dade police detectives?
From the time I met him in the cell to get him ready to be placed in my vehicle was probably 5 to 10 minutes at the most. Transporting from my station to Miami-Dade Police Headquarters was probably another 20 minutes, give or take. So, and then also taking him from my vehicle upstairs to the homicide office was probably another 5 minutes. So give or take about 30, 35 minutes.
Okay. Now, when a person is in your custody as a law enforcement officer, are you responsible for his welfare?
Absolutely.
All right. So as it relates to the issue of injuries, let's talk specifically about that. If a person is in your custody and you're transporting him, even temporarily, if a person has any injuries that appear to require medical treatment, what is the protocol as a police officer for that situation?
The protocol is to notify your supervisor and ascertain if fire rescue is needed for those injuries.
All right. And if upon being notified that fire rescue treatment is necessary, is that something that you have the ability to call for?
Absolutely.
All right. So let's go back to Mr. Medina. You spent 30 plus minutes with him, give or take, between South Miami and Miami-Dade Police. Correct?
Correct.
All right. During that entire period of time, did Mr. Medina at any point request any medical treatment of you?
Not at all.
Did he make any complaints of injuries to you?
No, sir.
Specifically, did he say anything about his shoulder feeling like it was fractured?
No.
Did you observe any obvious signs of injuries to Mr. Medina's body?
No.
Had you as a police officer observed any obvious injuries to Mr. Medina that appeared serious? Or had you observed them on your own? Is that something you would have to take action regardless of whether he asks you for it or not?
Absolutely.
Okay. And you've done that in other cases?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Cross-examination?
Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon.
My name is, good morning. My name is Sam Zane, I represent Mr. Medina. I'm going to ask you just a few quick questions in regards to your involvement in this case as well as to your testimony today. Just so I have this straight, you went into South Miami, picked him up to transport him to Medina, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you gave a timeline of about 25 to 30 minutes, which was from, and this is just a guesstimation, is that about right?
Yes.
Would that be fair to say?
Correct.
So about half hour you were alone with Mr. Medina, correct?
Yeah, give or take, yes.
And you indicated that he asked you a question with regards to whether or not his wife was alive, correct?
Yes.
Where did he ask this question?
While we were in the process of driving from my station to Miami-Dade headquarters, while he was in the backseat of my police vehicle.
Does your police vehicle have any recording devices or anything that memorializes activity inside your car? I know I see it sometimes on TV shows where it shows people in the back seat confessing or something to that effect. Does your vehicle have that technology?
No, our vehicle's not equipped with that type of device.
And how far along in the drive were you when this question was asked to you?
I believe we were on the Palmetto Expressway. So it was from my station, probably less than 10 minutes,
So about 10 minutes into the drive?
again, give or take.
Was there any communication that you had over the CD or over the radio that would suggest information coming in with regards to Ms. Alfonso's medical condition?
No,
And you took him in a marked police vehicle, correct?
yes, sir.
And you were were you dressed like you are today?
No, sir, I was dressed in full.
Okay, so in full police uniform, correct?
Yes.
Not to be confused with what a EMT or a healthcare specialist looks like, correct?
Correct.
And when he asked you this question, he was in the backseat of the vehicle, obviously?
Yes.
Okay. Was he handcuffed? I assume he was handcuffed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were the cuffs behind his back or in front of his back?
Behind his back.
Behind his back. And when he asked you this question, were you able to visualize and look at my client while he made the statement?
Through the rearview mirror, I could see him in the back seat.
Can you describe what he looked like facially?
Facially?
Right, I mean, was he grinning? Was he sad? Was he happy? Was he confused?
I really couldn't tell from...
How about the
Eyes.
tone? How about the tone of that question? Was it a somber tone? Do you know if she's dead, or was it an excited tone?
I wouldn't say it was excited, and I wouldn't say it was somber. He just... I mean, I don't know how Mr. Medina acts on a normal basis, so I couldn't...
Well, but you deal with a lot of people, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so my question is, when he made that statement, according to you, how did that statement come across?
Normal to me.
Did you have any details with regards to the incident other than that you were supposed to transport this person?
No.
He didn't make any statements to you with regards to, I mean, he just, let me ask it this way. Did he make any spontaneous, you called it a spontaneous statement initially, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because at that point, you hadn't read his Miranda rights or anything to that effect, correct?
No.
And when he made this spontaneous statement to you, what was your response?
My response was, I don't know.
And that was the conclusion of the conversation that you had?
Yes.
So for the entire ride, from, you said it was 20 to 25 minutes?
The ride from my station to headquarters is about 20 to 25 minutes.
When you got this up, did you finish your
I'm sorry, I was just saying, depending on traffic.
Depending on traffic. And that day was traffic light, heavy, regular?
It was probably regular, I can't really recall, but at that time in the afternoon, it's not usually that bad.
Did you, when you walked into the holding station in South Miami, who was observing my client?
I believe it was Officer Venturi, John Venturi.
Did it appear that my client was engaging in any conversation with this officer when you got there?
No.
And how long were you there at the South Miami station to transport? How long?
How long did it take me before?
Yeah. From the time that you got into the holding cell to
Okay.
when you were moved in, was it you
It
just
was
walking in?
less than 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes.
Nothing further.
Read next.
No, Your Honor.
Detective, you're excused.
Thank you.
Would the state like to call its next witness?
Yes, Judge, the state would like to recall Officer Venturi.
Please come forward to be sworn. Please come take a seat. Good morning again, Officer Venturi. How are you? Good. Good. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Officer, I want to talk to you about the time that you spent with the defendant when you were watching him in the holding cell, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You recall being asked questions about that on cross-examination when you testified originally?
Yes.
Last week?
Yes.
Okay. What's the purpose of having an officer assigned to someone who's in the holding cell?
To prevent him from hurting himself.
Okay.
And did you engage in any type of conversation whatsoever with the defendant during the hour and a half that you were with him?
No.
You said nothing to him?
No.
You asked him any questions?
No.
Did he say anything to you?
No.
Okay. What would the procedure be if if someone in the holding cell had any complaints of any injuries?
Then we would call fire rescue, have them respond to the station, so the person would be checked out.
And would you be obligated to do that if you observed injuries regardless of whether someone was actually complaining?
Absolutely.
And what, if any, injuries were you able to observe on the defendant for the hour and a half that you were with him in that holding cell?
None.
Okay. And that was, he was still wearing that tank top that we have seen in some
Yes.
pictures? And how many times did the defendant say to you that he was injured?
None.
Was fire rescue called for him?
No.
Was there ever any complaints made about anything to the shoulder or possible fracture, anything like that?
No.
Did at any time he seem to be wincing in pain or complaining of pain during the time that he was in there?
No.
And it was your job to observe him, is that correct?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Cross-examination?
Really quick. When you first encountered my client, he indicated to you that he'd been attacked by his friend, correct?
Yes.
And he indicated that there was a knife used in that attack, correct?
He did not indicate that to me.
Were you in the lobby area with Officer Everett and Detective Lopez?
Yes.
And it's your testimony that you didn't hear him mention anything about that, correct?
Objection, Judge, beyond scope. Overruled.
No.
Were you in the same proximity as Detective Lopez and Officer Everett?
Yes.
So you would agree that you were, if a statement was made and they both could hear that potentially you could have heard it as well, correct?
Objection. Speculation.
Sustained.
Could you hear other statements that my client was making?
Yes.
It's a small room, right? The waiting room?
Yes, it is.
And you'll agree with me that if someone makes a statement at one corner of the room and they're speaking like I'm speaking, you could hear it at the other end, kind of like we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't see any knife marks on my client's hands or anything like that, right?
No.
No injuries whatsoever, correct? Correct. Nothing further.
Redirect.
No, Judge, thank you.
Thank you, officer. Your excuse. Would the state like to call the next one? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we will take a 10-minute recess. If we say it is 11:25, I will ask that you be at the other end of the hallway at 11:35. Please remember to follow my rules and instructions. As always, please leave your notepads behind.
Please rise.
Please allow the jurors to leave the courtroom first, please. Please be seated. For the record, State Defense, Mr. Medina, we did have a sidebar conversation. Go ahead. Over there. Okay. We did have a conversation sidebar without the services of the interpreter where we discussed setting up the technology for the perpetuation of testimony. Is that a correct statement of what happened sidebar without the court reporter state?
That's correct, Judge.
Defense?
Yeah, but you said that it was without the interpreter. I know you...
Thank you. Without the court reporter, thank you. The other was an interpreter issue on another case. Just so you know, I have my JA making a phone call to AOC at this time. As soon as I learn something, you will all know.
Well, Judge, I'm just going to ask the court to give us some direction here. I don't know if the we want to make sure that if the prosecution says they can't do it, if they don't have the equipment, we want to be able to give an ample notice for us to get that equipment.
As an abundance of caution, you may want to do that.
Judge, I'm happy to share with defense counsel exactly what my IT guy said as far as the equipment. The email that I got just now is as follows. AOC does have the equipment. The SAO does not have network cabling or equipment within the building, so we have no way to connect it. That is all I know. So
I have my phone call into AOC. I'm waiting for a response. Apparently Lewis is not coming into the building for a little bit, but there is a phone call out to him. As soon as I hear something, I'll let you know. If the defense wants to, I have an abundance of caution, take initiative, then that may be recommended.
And just the other person, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Kennedy. I just wanted to let the court know the other person at AOC that we were dealing with, a person named Juan Antonio. I don't know if that person is of any assistance.
Juan Antonio? Juan
It
Antonio.
sounds like it's not an AOC issue, it sounds like it's a state attorney issue up there. I mean, that's what you said.
No, it sounds like it's an AOC.
It's an AOC issue. We have completely confirmed, we have set it up in Orlando, our witness is going to be there, the satellite is there. The bottom line is we need equipment here on the receiving end. We have set up everything, we have
So it's
so
just-
far paid the bill for her to be there. What we don't have is the actual equipment in the courtroom, which AOC possesses, but for some reason does not want to use. And we do not have the cabling, I don't know if it's a structural issue or whatever that means, but we don't have the cabling to do it with our equipment, and AOC has it, they just don't want to let us use it. And what
So
that
we're
means
making
in
our
terms of what
phone call
happened,
from our end?
I don't.
Okay, well,
That's what I got.
Mr. Yeager's going to be on this comment.
Recess for those 10 minutes. Stay. I appreciate you doing that. Great.